Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about dating a colleague and whether or not that sort of thing is a good idea. So the first thing that I kind of want to get into is the kind of like difficulties of dating someone who you work with, or at least like asking someone out who you work with. Because this was an experience that I went through and it turned out to be something that was quite embarrassing because I just didn't realize how. I thought that if I asked someone out, it would remain between me and that person, right? So there was a girl that I liked at a workplace a good number of years ago now, and I asked her out, and she politely, very politely declined, saying that she was basically still interested in someone else, and basically something along the lines of it basically wasn't fair to start dating someone when she was still really attached to someone else, which was fair enough. But little did I know, like a good few weeks later, it came out that it wasn't something that conversation wasn't just something that was kept between us two. Apparently, a lot of other people knew about it, and she had told other people that I had, in fact, asked her out. So it became kind of something quite embarrassing, and at that time, I wasn't as confident as what I am now. So it was just a really sticky situation for me, and I really didn't like it, and it just made me feel really embarrassed. So there's something like that, just be aware if you ask someone out at work, it may not stay between you two. It may very quickly fly around the rest of the workplace, around the rest of the department. So obviously it kind of depends on how much integrity that person has. And to be fair, I didn't say to her, oh, can we just keep this between us two? So that might be something that you might want to do. Because usually, if you do kind of say that kind of thing, I reckon most people have a good heart and won't say anything about it to anyone else that you work with. But yeah, so that's something to consider. If you do ask someone out, just be very aware that it may spread around and you might not like that. See, I'm someone who, if someone asked me out, I probably wouldn't tell anyone else if I was still single. Obviously, if someone asked me out now, I'd be really weirded out by it. Well, I'll be flattered as well, depending on the circumstances, I guess. But I would tell my wife, like, straight away. I'll be like, oh my god, can you, like, because I tell her everything. So I'll be like, oh my god, someone asked me out today. Can you believe it? That kind of thing. Or someone flirted with me today. Look at this text message they sent me. I'm very open with my wife about that kind of stuff. So, but if I was single and someone asked me out, I'm very much someone who doesn't like, spread that kind of information around. Like I try to think about the other person's feelings, and I wouldn't say anything about that to anybody else. I'm one of those kinds of people that don't kiss and tell. So that's another reason why that kind of situation made me feel really embarrassed and hurt and betrayed, because I'm the kind of person that wouldn't do that for me, because that's one of my rules inside of me. But I guess it's just the point that maybe some people just don't have as much integrity as what you do, so you've got to keep that into consideration. So another thing about dating a colleague, asking someone out at work, is things can get a bit tricky if it doesn't work out, right? Because you're now around this person all the time, and you dated them and it didn't work out, and now you have to see them every single day. And if it kind of ends up a bit messy, or they might hurt you, or you may hurt them, obviously it might not be an intentional hurt, then they've got to see you all the time. You've got to see them. It may really suck and it may hurt. And it may be the case that you hurt so much that you want to leave, or they want to leave. And then it ruins not ruins, but it potentially could, make challenges in their career, right? So that's something else to consider. So to begin, it can be a bit of a bad idea, right? Especially as well if you're not sure if the other person feels the same way about you, and you're not sure if it's going to work. Sometimes, when you meet someone and you really, really like them and they really, really like you, usually things do work out and it is something that occurs for the better. And I do know people that have met at work, got married, had kids, the whole enchilada, right? So with that being said, it can work. It is a good way to meet people. It is a good way to date. It's a good way to get to know people. It's a good way to meet new people. And it does work for a lot of people. There are a lot of people out there that meet their future spouses at work. So you don't want to rule it out, but you have to be careful, basically. You have to be careful with this sort of thing because it could end up a bit messy. It could end up a bit tricky. Personally, I think it's better if it's not something that's kept a secret, as in when you two do get into a relationship, it's probably best to not keep that a secret in the department. Perhaps when you're just dating, then it's good to keep it a secret. But after some time has gone by and you do enter a relationship with them and you're together and you want to move in together and you know you two really want to be together, then it's probably best to disclose that to your boss or disclose it to the other people that you're working with so they know about it. But to begin with, it's better to keep it on the down low before things get serious, because I feel like a lot of people do try to get involved in your relationship if you are working together before you've established that relationship. So if you're just dating someone and everybody knows about it, they're going to be trying to get involved, and they might even push you like, oh, you should go on more dates, or I heard you're dating so and so, or you should say this to her, or you should do, so you want to keep it just between you two to begin with. Like, I think that's really, really important. But when you do both know that you like each other a lot, you want to be in a relationship, you start seeing each other more, maybe you start spending, time at each other's apartments, or you move in together, when you start doing those kinds of things, then it's probably best that other people know about it then. But again, you have to be very aware that people can be very, very nosy and very intrusive. So, it'd be good if you don't spill too many of the details to other people that you work with, because it might wind up going back to her or him at some point. So whatever you say, make sure it's very brief if you do enter a relationship, when you start dating someone, because you don't want that information to get relayed back to her or him. So an example of this is, I know someone who really liked this girl at work. They started dating, and this guy was telling another guy that he works with, about the fact that he was dating her. And this other guy, this person I know, he thought they were really good friends, and because what actually happened was he actually liked her as well. And then he started to sabotage, or trying to sabotage, the relationship. Well, luckily it didn't really happen, and then they still are together. But that's something that happened, that other people were trying to sabotage the relationship because they also had a crush on her as well. So it really sucked for that, initial stage, and he kind of regretted telling people at work because that kind of thing was happening. So, that's something else to consider as well. Don't just think because you're really good friends with someone, some people are complete snakes, so it's best to just keep it to yourself to begin with. And when you do disclose that you are with them and you are with her or him, no matter what, and you are in a relationship, don't be too detailed about your relationship and things like that. Try and keep it on the down low. You can let people know about it, but don't disclose any details. It's really, really important, because people are so nosy. And a lot of the time, a lot of people don't have anything better to do at work than gossip and all that kind of stuff. So just be aware that when you get with them and you start telling people, you're going to be the new juicy news, right? And if you're not into that kind of thing, like me, because I hate gossip, I hate being in the center of gossip and being, other people's topic of gossip. It's so annoying. I just want people to just leave me alone, kind of thing. But, that's just something you need to consider and think about when you start dating someone, because other people, they might want to get involved, and they probably will try to get themselves involved because they've got nothing better else to do. So try and keep it as much on the down low as possible. And when you do say that you're in a relationship, then try to give as little details as possible, to avoid all the annoying gossip and all that kind of thing. But if you thrive in that kind of environment and you love it, then by all means, go ahead. But I'm just going from my personal experience. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. That's my thoughts on what to do if you start dating someone, who's your colleague, and whether or not it's a good idea or a bad idea. Thank you so much for watching. And if you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christinelovridge.com. Please keep in mind that it's the holidays, so it may take me some time to get back to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.